Hey ho, Ahmonza here, and I'm going to share something with you. During the month of August, there's a little thing called Smaugust, or something to that effect. The basic premise is that you would draw a dragon for every day of the month. This is fucking hard to do. So a small group of artists on the Twitter pages and whatnot that happened to be within my social circle invited me to take part in this Smaugust type thing, with the sole exception that each of us would take up at least 1 or 2 days. I'll show you the listing as it is. But it would be a dragon for each day of the month, and each day would have its own prompt. Now I'm here to show off some of the works that came from that little social circle that decided to do these things, and share the socials, share the love, see if you guys can go and follow their work as well. Why am I doing this so late? Fuck you. I have busy life. Not fuck you. You guys are kind of cool. Anyhow, starting off with day one, the prompt is Shaggy. We have a nice picture here of a hairy blue lizard with a huge, thick coat of fur surrounding its entire body. It's got tusk, blue skin, and almost a desert lizard kind of look to it. It's done by Huitzilin Flores. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, correct me later. I'm not too good at this right now. Going on to day number 2, we have from Farann, the prompt being whistle. And here we have a tiny little tree dragon. Very cute, very small, very cuddly. Would pet 100%. It has a horn going from the tip of its snout to the back of its head, and what I can only assume is a whistle. Now, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but you'll have to ask him. Either it blows through its nose like a little trumpet, or what might be cooler, I think, is that it has an opening on the front of its nose as presented as such, but it itself is a whistle. So as they're flying through the air or gliding between trees, you might hear, I don't know how to whistle, but you might hear a whistle as they pass by. With a little Doppler effect, I would think that would be kind of cool. For day 3 from Cinnwanz. I hope I'm pronouncing all of these names right. I'm probably butchering the hell out of it. We have bells for the prompt, and he decided to make an artifact, a dragon bell, with various affectations and different little bits and bobs coming off it. We see the overall profile of a dragon, its claws clutching the very top of the bell itself. We also see wings or something to that effect clutching up from the side of its body. And it seems like the type of thing that you would see in like a Dark Souls game. I know that that would certainly be the case. For day number 4, we have Steam as the prompt by Pani or Pani. I'm not exactly sure which works better, but we have the Thermopyne Tratodon. It's a type of river dragon. As we can see, its wings are now makeshift fins as it's able to wade through the water. It has retractable teeth, a top floating schnauzer so it can keep its head above the water while the rest of it lays submerged like an ambushing crocodile or caiman. Very cool, very sleek. Now if you wish to pause right here, you can read the deeper lore of this steam-based dragon, and its overall aesthetic I think is just far too impressive to ignore. Here by Nova we have the Dancer for day 5, Dancer being the prompt here in question. It has hooved feet, so you would expect, rapid stepping, and a large vocal organ at the base of its neck. It gives the impression of something like a toucan or a kind of large paradise bird. Very cool. Here for day 6 from Hop, we have the prompt Coil, and he took that literally by taking what looks like something akin to a Komodo dragon or some type of large lizard and stretching it out like a damn noodle. And of course, as it coils up, dragons like these are often referred to as basilisks. Of course, they would have a lot more legs than 4. Either way, this is still a very cool dragon. And I'm unsure that the appendages coming off of its nose and jaw, or horns or fleshy bits like you might see on the face of a chicken or rooster. Either way, very sleek, very mean, very coily. For another part of day 6 by Polariesart, we have an actual coil, and he kind of goes a little weird with it and goes with the Tesla coil, a kind of dragon that is kind of resembles a little bit of a sauropod of sorts. We see that its forelimbs that would have been wings at one point are now turned into just a pair of legs. But the more important organ is its overall back structure leading from its tail to its head, able to conduct some kind of electricity that is able to focus. Not all dragons breathe fire. Moving on to day 7, from the same artist, we have the prompt corpse. And the dragon is less of a corpse himself, but rather an interesting behavior brought upon by its strange anatomy. In this case, a spine all the way down its back with huge spikes coming out forward, which this particular dragon would adorn its body with the corpses thereof. Very creepy. I think scary is the way he wanted to go with this one. Again, from the same artist, on day 8 we have the prompt mineral. Now at first I thought it was a dragon kind of driving this kind of mech-like structure, but if you take a look at further details, you can see it's rather a dragon wrapped in a sort of rocky exoskeleton of sorts. Its forelimbs and back limbs are exposed on some level, as well as its neat little tail. Of course, a dragon like this, it sort of reminds me of a creature from Elden Ring, the fallen star beast. Moving on to day 8, still with a different artist this time, Forgor, with a, a mineral dragon all the way through, it seems. It has a strange coil-like pattern throughout its body, and as we can see, something must have taken a chunk out of it, and you can see the layers, almost like layers to a rock. Very cool. Although its face is very fucking creepy, and is absolute nightmare fuel. Moving on to day 9, we have the prompt saltwater. This dragon, done by Plasma. Now it kind of looks like something like a seal at first, but upon closer inspection and a little bit of memory searching, this is more akin to something like a Leviathan, or those weird sea dragons that you would see on old ancient maps, or just really old ones, like you would probably see in the 1940s or something like that, as some of them still like to do the little illustrations every once in a while. Day 10, we have Rival by RJ. Following the prompt, he creates this very bright dragon. It kind of looks like a parrot almost. Interesting. It's big-headed. It gives me the impression that it's very, very small. That and it's upward looking. It kind of makes you wonder, what does a dragon have to look up to if it's not small, Unless there's something flying, of course. And day 11 from Plasma, we have the Devonian type of dragon. At least that's the prompt. Now, from the Devonian, he's clearly, or she's clear, I don't know what the premises is, but going for a kind of, I guess you could say, ancient dragon that is not quite a lizard and not quite an amphibian, at least not of yet, as the Devonians are filled with many creatures like this. Although, given its basic body plan, it's giving me the impression it's a kind of ambush predator. Its front limbs are, I guess you could say, at sort of pseudo wings. They will eventually become wings, but in their current form are more like fins. Its eyes are on the top of its head, so it's able to examine the water surface without breaching it. It has its antennae on its bottom jaw so as to skate along the bottom of a lake without disrupting it. At least not too much. Of course, I think those are sensorial organs. The overall, all these traits put together gives me the impression of a sort of swampy ambush predator. If I'm wrong, do let me know. Now, I can't pronounce the prompt for day 13, Smaugust or something like that. I don't know, it's something Japanese, but it usually refers to like something akin to a creature that is formed from everyday objects in the house. In this case, a teapot. Is it me, or it does look like a turtle? It looks like a turtle. This particular illustration is done by JaxDaHax. Very cool, very cute, very fun. Of course, like I said, I participated in this project, and for day 14, I have the Jester. I decided to create this one based on, a general look and feel of what a jester might dress like, by taking the spindly bits that, would be on the hat of a jester and put it on its face to give it that silhouette. The overall dragon is something akin to a horned, bearded dragon with very bright, colorful, I guess you could say, fin-like structures coming off of its neck and shoulders. Of course, the general idea is that this creature would dance about and look real funny, and while you're distracted with its amusing appearance, it will lop you over the head with its bulbous tail. A trick for a treat, or a treat for a trick, in which case being a bludgeoned force. Here by Huitzilin Flores again, for day 15 we have the insect. Now this seems like a conglomeration of various things. Its large fat tail gives it the overall silhouette of something like a wasp or yellow jacket. The fact that it has two stingers or pincers on the back end, that could be one of few things, that being a kind of earwig. Of course, the front of its head looks more like a millipede on some level, although its overall coloring doesn't actually carry something of an insect at all, at least not for me, but reminds me of something like a flathead worm. Another one from Plasma, this one being day 17 with the prompt rose. Now, they went for more rose color. As you can see, it's large crested scales coming off from the back of its head down to its shoulders. It has a very bright color. It gives the impression that this might be a male lizard or something like that, as for reptiles and birds, males tend to be the more decorative ones. It makes them hot for the ladies. But what I think is more interesting about this is that it goes beyond just the color, but the overall scales too, as many of the scales on the rest of its body look like, and on closer inspection, kind of look like the thorns that come off of a rose's stem. Overall, very cool. Coming from Polariesart again, on day 18 with the prompt asymmetrical. It almost looks like a Monster Hunter monster with one big claw coming at you. It kind of looks like a chameleon claw, or having the silhouette of like maybe a crab claw of sorts. But, the more I look at it, the more I'm reminded that it very well might be something akin to a pistol shrimp or a mantis shrimp. Because if I remember those things correctly, they have a large clicking claw that once the claw collapses in on itself, it's able to create a vacuum under the water and burn the living shit out of you. That's what this one is giving me, especially with all the force and heat coming off of its claw. It's giving me a mantis shrimp for sure. That and its overall colorful vibe. Coming off with Farann again with day 20, with the prompt being overgrowth. This appears to be a sort of desert sandy kind of dragon, where a sort of mineral structure seems to be growing both on the back, wings, tail, and head of this dragon, asymmetrically too, if I might add. It gives the impression that either these materials are forming on its skin just from exposure, or maybe they form naturally, kind of like one of those deep vented slugs that you see under the waters of India, the ones with the iron boots. That's what it's given to me, just a little bit. Now this one is from Hop on day 22, with the prompt being negative. Now it might seem like a normal dragon at first, until you realize that this is not how he originally painted the thing. In the process of making this creature, he actually painted it in negative colors and then flipped it. So overall, he's just showing off how good he is with his color understanding. Goddamn show off. Either way, it's pretty damn good. Coming from Polariesart again, on day 22, we have the negative. Now he went a direction I wouldn't have done myself. We have a sort of whale mosasaur type creature with many a harpoon in its back, but none to slay it. It's a kind of filter feeder, it seems, with a large brush-like structure on the top of its jaw. But on its bottom jaw, it has teeth like that of a killer whale or sperm whale. Very interesting creature indeed. Of course, we all had to do at least 2 days or something like that. My first one actually was the Regal Dragon for a prompt, and this is day 23. I decided to go with, red as a royal color, and it just so happens there's a type of vulture that exists that has these exact type of coloring, and I pulled a lot from that one because it looked like a little dragon to me. But I chose red because it's often the color of power, and it's also the color of royalty, And I figured that this would invoke some kind of worshipping vibes or powerful vibes, like a monarchy of sorts. At least, the type of colors that usually come with such aesthetics. And of course, I had to give him an audience because he can't really be all that royal if he doesn't have any subjects. For day 24 from JaxDaHax, we have Gnarled. We have what looks like a typical kind of dragon, but not quite. It has very many interesting features on it. Long, clawed, tipped wings, and a crocodilian-like tail, bulled horns, and a very wide jaw. But as we can see, this particular creature is damaged, torn asunder a little bit. The tip of its tail is sawn off. One of its limbs is completely removed. There's cuts in its wings. One of its horns is missing. It's a very damaged creature. You might say he was chewed upon by another. Here we have Day 25 Neural by Nova, a kind of dragon that gives off a sort of cosmic god. Very eerie. It would be very nice for a children's book, I'll say that much. For Day 26, we have Fortress for a prompt by Cinnwanz once again. This one being a sort of entrance as far as I could tell, with a large dragon corpse or corpses adoring its entrance, with a knight ready to brave it in some kind of swamp or temple. Although upon closer inspection, I think he's already in the temple. This is just but one of its many treasures inside. For RJ, on day 27, we have the prompt Pearl, and it looks a lot like one of those blue angels you find in Australia. You know the ones. Very cute, very pretty, but if you dare touch it, it'll sting the living shit out of you. And of course, this one has round bases at the back of its tail that give the impression of looking into an orb, or in another way, they look like mini eyes. If you're a regular animal or predator, you wouldn't know which end is the front, would you? Forgor again, on day the 31st, with the prompt Colossal. He goes for a typical Western dragon design, except in the vein of something that you might see in a kaiju movie. It very much resembles something like a Godzilla. And I think he designed this particular dragon in such a way that it looked like it could be worn as a suit by a man, if you will. As many of the kaijus were actually designed in such a fashion in order for it to have the proper means, an actor behind the dragon or creature in question for those kaiju films. You can already tell how much of a Godzilla fan this man is. And with that, that's all I'm able to share with you today. I hope you like all these artworks. They're very nice. Now, I've also promised to show all their socials in the description, and you should probably go check out their other works. They're very skilled artists, all of them, each of them. And who knows, you might be able to scratch a commission from them or two. I know they would appreciate it. And with that, hey how ho, you guys have a good day.